Hey, welcome everybody to today's Tuesday topic. I've decided it's Tuesday topic versus Tuesday tip. You know, I'll get it figured out one of these days, but I think that one's better. So today we're going to talk about time blindness. So time blindness is one of these things that is a real struggle for people with ADHD. So it is basically, it's part of executive functioning. And as we've talked about in the past, people with ADHD tend to struggle with a lot of things that fall into executive functioning, like time management, organizing, being able to prioritize, etc. So time blindness is having a deficiency in this. So it's not being able to sense time passing, right? Not being able to be aware of just sort of the ticking of time, right? So an example would be for the more traditional sense of time blindness, you have to be at an appointment in 30 minutes. And you say, okay, it's going to take me 20 minutes to get there. And in those 10 additional minutes, I am going to write 6 emails, return a couple phone calls, and paint a room. You know who you are. However, more than likely, it takes 30 minutes to get to the appointment that's 30 minutes away. So unless you left that minute, you were already going to be late. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is the one that I actually struggle with more, which is something, let's say something takes legitimately 15 minutes to do. I think it will take an hour and a half. And sometimes that's actually not an exaggeration. But I think things take way longer to do than they actually do. And so it causes me to struggle to start projects because I'm like, well, I can't get started on that. It's going to take way too long. I don't want to have to stop in the middle of it. So how do we combat this? Because it's actually really important to be on time. Because as we've talked about in the past, like last week I talked about the ADHD tax, right? And how some of our symptoms can cost us money, time, the people in our lives. And this is one of those things. If you are always late for a client, they're probably not going to keep you. If you are always late to a job, probably not going to keep you, right? If you are in a relationship with someone where they're always on time, it will become a source of friction. And the message that it sends to people is that you don't value their time, which is, valuable to them, right? Now, we all know that deep down that's not at all what it is. You just cannot seem to get out the door on time. And I'm about to talk about little ways that should help you with that. Some of them you may have tried, but I'm going to ask you to maybe try again. You never know. So part of the problem with time blindness is there's something called the time horizon, which is how far out to the future you can see so that you can plan. And people with ADHD tend to have a much shorter time horizon, meaning, there's sort of a joke or a saying that is said within the ADHD community, which is that there's now and there's not now, right? And if it's not now, well, and off it goes, and then you, of course, will probably forget about it. So in order to extend that time horizon so that you can better prepare for things, there are some things that you can do, okay? So I do have notes here because I will not remember all of this on my own. The first one is understanding the things that do suck your attention, right? Social media, for example. I can't tell you how many times I have come in here because I do business on here, right? And, I have this group. And I'll be like, okay, I want to go in. I want to interact with people. I want to see what's going on in there. And of course it goes to my personal page first. And I'll be like, oh, look who had a baby. Oh, look at the puppy, blah, blah, blah. And an hour passes. And I'm like, oh, look at that. I have I have done nothing with what I came on here to do. So one of the things that I have done in the past that helps keep me focused is using timers, okay? So, for example, there's something called the Pomodoro timer. Many of you have heard of that. And it is like a 25-minute timer and then a 5-minute break. And so there is something about knowing that that timer is on that keeps me more focused. So that is an option for that. So that's something that I think it's an app. There's even an app. If I can find it, I'll put it in the files under the resources. There is one that is on my computer. I'll see if it's this one on this computer. Excuse me, when the 25 minutes is up, literally like my whole screen just says, time's up. And I have to stop what I'm doing. Because we also suffer a lot from one more thing-itis, right? So if the timer goes off, but you go, okay, yeah, I'll stop as soon as I finish this one thing. You're not going to stop, and now you're late for your appointment, okay? So using timers well, and actually stopping when it goes off is incredibly helpful. I showed you guys this one before, this timer. I like this one because there's a visual cue in terms of how much time is left. And if you are one of those people that tends to turn off the alarm and then keep working, what you should do is, if you have something like this, put it far enough away that you can see it, but you actually have to get up to turn it off. Okay? Because that will force you to kind of break from what you're doing and get up and move around and go, okay, now I'm going to go to my appointment. The next thing that you can do is change what you're focusing on in terms of the time. So if you have to be somewhere by 9 o'clock, what tends to happen with people with ADHD is we just see the 9 o'clock. And we don't do anything to get ready until all of a sudden it's 9 o'clock. And now you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not even ready yet. Because the 9 o'clock's in your head, but in your head you're not realizing, oh, you have to like get dressed and brush your teeth and plan for the meeting and whatever. So instead of focusing on the time that you're supposed to be somewhere, focus on the time that you want to start getting ready for it. Ignore the other thing until this first part's done, right? So if it's going to take you an hour to take a shower and get ready and get your notes all ready, so then you'll say, okay, so I'm going to start, we'll say at 8 o'clock, okay? And that should be your new focus then. Not the 9 o'clock when you're supposed to be out the door. Focus on the time that you need to start to get ready to be on time. And that will take you some time to figure out how long things truly take, okay? I do suggest like actually tracking things that you do regularly, like actually timing it to see how long things take you. Because so often, like I said, especially for people who are chronically late, they tend to think that things don't take that long when they actually take longer than they think they will. Does that make sense? Okay. Setting multiple alarms. I have basically 3 reminders for every appointment because I will lose track of time. And it is fantastic. So as we talked about before, if you have like an Apple Watch, and I just in one of the other ones that we talked about, I think Samsung has a watch as well for Android. Your appointments can come up on your watch. I don't have my watch on right now, but and so if your phone isn't with you, it's still something to make you go, oh, I gotta go. I have an appointment, right? And using analog clocks versus digital. Again, there's something about seeing the actual clock face that helps our brains register how much time is left versus a digital. I don't know what it is, but I just know that it helps. If you are somebody who's always misjudging how long it takes to drive somewhere, if you're one of those people that's like, oh, it just takes like 10 minutes for everything, Google Maps is your friend. I wish Google Calendar had a more streamlined way of adding travel time into your appointments. You can do it on Apple calendars. You can say travel time and you can say where from, and it will give you an estimate. But you can't do that with Google in an easier way. I may do a tutorial on that one of these days for people who really want to stick with the Google thing, or that you're not a Mac person. But it's really a really great way because you can put in where you're leaving from, where you're going to, and even what time you need to get there by. And it will give you the approximate time based on like a Thursday at 9 o'clock. This is this is approximately how long it will take to get to a certain place. And always err on the side of giving yourself extra time to get there. Okay. And lastly, sleep. I know sleep is not always our friend, especially those of us that are of a certain age and hot flashes and fun things that go on at night. So that's been fun for me as of late. But sleep, if you are super tired in the morning, that tends to contribute to a lot of morning lateness, honestly, because you hit snooze a couple dozen times and now all of a sudden you've got 5 minutes to get completely ready and get out the door to get to work, which, let's face it, it's not going to happen. So try to get good sleep. So you will have to retrain your body in order to go to bed earlier. I used to be a total night owl, and now I go to bed at 9:30. It's kind of crazy. So it can be done. But that is also a really important part of this. Sleep really can contribute to how severe your symptoms are. And so sleep is just vital. And in fact, I may do a topic on sleep, just sleep, one of these days, because it really is, it's so important for everybody, but definitely for people with ADHD. So I hope some of these tips might help you. And as I say every week, if you have something that has worked for you, a strategy that's worked for you, some kind of a system, tell us about it, because it may be something that will work for somebody else in our group. If you have been trying something and have been struggling with it and feel like you just need to tweak it and you want some suggestions, put that in the comments too. You never know what people can contribute to that. And yeah, so I hope you guys got a lot out of today and better understand time blindness. This could be like an entire masterclass just on time blindness, but I don't have that much time today. So, if you have any questions about it, put it in the comments. And like I said, any systems or things that have helped you in the past, please put them in there as well so we can all learn. All right. Have a fabulous rest of your week. And I'll see you in the group before that, but I will see you next Tuesday for Tuesday topic. All right. Have a great week.